Good morning, students. How are you? One minute, let me adjust a little bit. Yes. The board is visible, right? And am I audible? Is that clear? Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Very good morning. Yes. Yes. Okay. 2-3 minutes we will wait. After that we can start. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Very good morning. So I hope yesterday's topic is clear for all, right? We have gone in detail, everything we have covered, right? Each and every point we have covered. I hope it is clear for everyone, right? If you have any queries, please feel free to inform me, right? Surely I will reply, right? Yes, okay. So I think without further ado, we can start, right? Okay. Okay, today is our topic. Yes, let them join anyway, right? We will have a revision and we will start, right? So, very good morning, Akshita. Good morning, right? So, today we are going to discuss about the cell organelles in detail, right? So, we have completed plasma membrane, right? Plasma membrane. 1 minute, let me adjust that lighting also. That needed, I think. Turn on that. Yes, and you can turn off this. No, here the light is more. Let me adjust that 1 minute, right? I think now it's clear, right? Yes. Okay. So, yeah, okay. If you're writing a name, very good, right? Very good, right? So, if you're writing your name, it's really good, right? So, we have discussed that the detail about plasma membrane yesterday, right? Plasma membrane or cell membrane is common for all. Whatever the type of cell, right? These two parts, that means this part is that plasma membrane or cell membrane. Plasma membrane ki और नाम है cell membrane, right? So, that will be common for all, each and everyone, right? So, whatever the cell, whether bacteria cell hai, plant cell hai, animal cell hai, whatever it is, plasma membrane to common hai, right? So, good morning everyone. Yes, very good. You are writing your name, right? Good, right? So, here we are going to detail that now go more further, right? कुछ cells में, that means specially plant cell में, right? And in some fungi, right? So fungi, what you mean by fungi and all? Here we will learn another chapter, diversity in living organism. In that we are going detail of that group of organisms. That time you will understand, right? Anyway, plant cell too, you know that, right? So plant cell have, here we were taking only plant cell because in this year itself we will discuss about the other organisms, right? So if it is a plant cell, then they have fungi. There is unicellular fungi, that's our yeast, but most of the fungi are multicellular, right? That we will discuss better, right? Anyway, right? So cell walls we are discussing about for plants first, right? So plants actually having a special structure, right? Which is actually very rigid, right? Rigid, yes, right? Rigid structure hai, right? It is made up of cellulose, right? So normally हमारा cell जो है, I will use another color. He will show you that, right? Yes. If it is an animal cell you can see that there is no specific shape or anything because we already told you cell membrane is that actually clearly visible nahi hai. Okay. That means lighting problem or any other. Can you adjust that quality of your video? Then maybe it will be. Right. What about others? Is it clearly visible? Yes, okay, right. So, better once you adjust your quality also, then also it will be, right. So, here you can see that there will be, right? The animal cell, the plasma membrane is actually, you can see that, what will you say, flexible, right? So it can attain any shape. But what about plant cell? I told you plant cell, rather than the plasma membrane, you can see that there is another structure is there, right? It's very rigid in structure. You can see that, right? So this is another structure. What is this? This is actually called the cell wall. This is the cell wall, which actually provide the correct shape, right? So this is the cell wall we are talking about, cell wall, है ना? Right, cell wall, which is providing the correct structure, shape and strength to that plant cell. Plant cell is more having more strength, right? So it is actually providing shape, right? Strength to the plant cell. So there is another structure rather than in animal cell, there is only cell membrane or plasma membrane, but here another structure is there, which is called our cell wall, right? Cell wall is made up of, yes, good morning everyone, right? Cell wall is made up of cellulose, right? So cell wall is not made up of good morning, but in between somebody told me good morning, that's why, right? So cell wall is made up of cellulose, right? Cellulose is a chemical, you can see that cellulose is a chemical, right? So by which that cell wall is made up of, right? So no other living things are there, only cellulose is there. So that's why cell wall is actually not living, non-living things से बना हुआ है, सिर्फ chemical से बना हुआ एक structure, right? So it is non-living. It has so many pores in it, right? Highly porous structure है. So here you can see that last outermost covering है, right? Plant cell की outermost covering है. It's very hard in nature, बहुत hard होती है. And it's very rigid, tough है, right? And it's actually having so many pores in that. Pores बहुत ज़्यादा है, non-living है, तो इसलिए वो कोई सा भी substance को अंदर आने के लिए और बाहर जाने के लिए देती है. So that's why it is actually fully permeable, not selectively or semi-permeable. Selectively or semi-permeable हमने discuss किया था in the case of cell membrane, right? So here you can see that that's not selectively or semi-permeable. It is fully permeable. Fully permeable, right? So here you can see that I told you already the plant cell, right? So plant cell, you can see that it's actually made up of, right? So that means outermost covering of plant cell, that's actually cellulose, cell wall, right? It's made up of cellulose, right? So outermost covering जो है plant cell की वो cell wall है, cell wall बना हुआ है cellulose से, right? It's a non-living thing, right? And it's very outer covering है, सबसे outer covering है, right? And it is very hard in nature, right? Hard है, right? And you can see that hard means rigid. I told you, right? Rigid है, right? And it's actually porous है, बिल्कुल pores. हमारे क्या बोलूँ? You can see that the sponge होती है ना, sponge, right? So sponge में you can sponge, right? So they have so many pores are there, right? Like that you can see that. So because of that, it is fully permeable. It will allow any substance to come inside and go outside, right? So it's just giving a shape for the cell and also it will give strength, right? So I told you fully permeable, right? So where can you find this cell wall? It's mostly for plant cell. I told you there are other organisms which is having cell wall like fungi and bacteria and all. That somewhat bacterial cell wall is made up of some other things and all, not simply cellulose, right? Fungi cell wall also, there is another chitin and all, some other substances are also there. We are discussing here only about plant cell. Plant cell की cell wall is made up of cellulose, right? So outer है, outermost structure, hard, rigid, porous covering है, right? It's for plant cell and it is absent in animal cell. Animal cell have the outer covering, plasma membrane, right? But plant cell में plasma membrane की अलावा, right? So there is another covering which is called the cell wall, right? So here it is non-living, I told you, made up of cellulose है, right? इसका main function क्या है बेटा? Shape maintain करना, strength maintain करना, or they are allowing all the substance go inside and outside, so it is fully permeable. So this is the main thing you have to understand. Is it clear? Right. So हमने cell wall के बारे में detail में बता दिया. I have repeated 2-3 times also. Why I am repeating? So that you can learn now itself, right? There is no need of any retina, right? That's not needed, right? Just go and read NCERT once, finish reading. That much only. You listen in the class, that's the best way to learn, right? Now, I'm going to rub this, okay? So beta, आपने one thing, right? How many of you are washing your clothes or anything? करती है क्या किसी ने भी, right? So anyway, whatever it is, I will give you that one experiment. You just try it, right? एक that ना what to say mug में, right? एक beaker में you take some soap water, right? Or even some salt water. Soap water भी छोड़ दो, salt water, right? And you put your fingers into that, right? अच्छे से salt water में fingers into that. What will happen after some time? You can see that आपका बिल्कुल ऐसे that ना how can I say that? Maybe you have experienced, right? बिल्कुल shrink हो चुका है कुछ जगह. You can see that fingers actually उसमें से shrink ज़्यादा नहीं है, थोड़ा बहुत shrink you will feel. The same thing once you are washing your clothes or anything soap water में वगैरह, you will feel that आपका कुछ time के बाद continuously मम्मी से पूछ लेना, मम्मी बताएगी, right? Maybe they have experienced that ना a lot, right? So आपको हाथ में fingers वगैरह ना shrink होकर ऐसे feel होती है. Why we are feeling like that, right? Another thing is there, right? So हमने I don't know you are putting that. South India it's very common. Fully एक छोटा छोटा mangoes होती है, right? Keri, right? So keri को छोटा first छोटा mango को they will put it in salt water. It will that means अचार बनाने के लिए ऐसे बना कर रखती है. South में it's very common. But north I haven't seen. But north में वो कट करके डाल देती है, right? Anyway, whatever it is, you can see that if it is a fully, they will shrink बहुत अच्छे से. You can see that salt water में डाल कर रखती है, बिल्कुल छोटा shrink हो जाती है. What's actually happening? Same osmosis and diffusion. यही तो होती है हमारे हाथ में भी. The same process. I told you. We have learned. Yes, salt is there. So वो hypertonic है तो हमारा हाथ से पानी बाहर जाएगा. Exosmosis will be there. We have learned that, right? Endosmosis, exosmosis, osmosis diffusion. इसका बहुत सारा practical application है, right? Once you will be having that passion, आप ये सब कुछ notice करना शुरू करेगा. यार क्यों ऐसे हो रही है, right? That's the correct way of learning. बाय हार्ट करके कोई फायदा नहीं है. अभी से आप थिंक करना शुरू करें, राइट? सो व्हाई इट इज हैपनिंग लाइक दैट, राइट? सो आपको दैट ना आंसर मिल गया, राइट? गो एंड इन्फॉर्म दैट ना, गो एंड टेल टू योर मदर, मम्मा ऐसे होती है, तो उसके बीच में दैट पीछे एक साइंस की प्रोसेस है, राइट? सो दैट्स अ वे ऑफ लर्निंग. उधर आपको बाय हार्ट करने की जरूरत नहीं है. यू आर अंडरस्टैंडिंग द थिंग्स एंड यू आर लर्निंग. दैट्स अ वे, राइट? So वो एक प्रोसेस है, right? Now we have learned osmosis and diffusion, right? In the case of plant cell, there is a special type of that process is there. It's also an osmosis or diffusion, but here what we are telling, it is plasmolysis. क्या होती है बेटा? देख लो, प्लांट सेल मैंने ऑलरेडी बता दिया, इट हैज अ वेरी रिजिड सेल वॉल इज देयर, राइट? बहुत ज्यादा रिजिड सेल वॉल है. Yes, this is the way, right? And इसके अंदर you can see that cell wall के अंदर you can see that हमारा cell membrane is there, right? Cell membrane, right? फिर इसके अंदर nucleus and all other structures are there that I am not going to draw it, right? So बेटा अभी इसको hypertonic solution में salt water में वगैरह डालकर रखा है. Yeah, very good, right? So that salt water में वगैरह डालकर रखा है. So what will happen, right? So obviously hypertonic solution है बेटा, hypertonic solution है. Here water concentration ज्यादा है, इधर water concentration कम है, तो obviously water will ooze out, right? Water will ooze out, right? Water will ooze out करेगा तो cell will start shrinking, right? Obviously water ooze out कर रही है तो exosmosis हो रही है. Exosmosis. Because of this exosmosis, right, the cell will start shrinking, right? कल हमने दिखा दिया था, right? So cell shrink करना शुरू करेगा, right? So shrink करना शुरू कर रही है, but what is the problem here? Plant cell के केस में there is a rigid cell wall. वो उतना जल्दी shrink नहीं होती है. It cannot shrink, right? बाकी animal cells की you can see that हमारा what will say that in the case of resins or whatever it is, उसमें भी you can see that this process is there, but उसमें उतना visible नहीं है. That's why I'm telling, right? So here mudport water, that's also osmosis. You can see that, right? So here different applications are there beta. देखना शुरू करो, you will get enough applications, right? So anyway, this is actually cell wall से तो shrink हो रही है. The same time, if you are watching it's careful, that means microscopically if you are watching, you can see that ये cell membrane है ना, cell wall तो shrink नहीं होगा उतना, तो cell membrane will start shrinking, right? They will start shrinking, right, away from the cytoplasm because this is rigid, right? तो ये cell membrane start shrink होगा, right? This process is known as plasmolysis, right? So shrinkage of protoplasm, right? प्रोटोप्लाज्म क्या है तो वो भी पता चलना चाहिए बेटा. व्हाट यू मीन बाय प्रोटोप्लाज्म? साइटोप्लाज्म, एक सेल में यू कैन सी दैट दिस इज द सेल मेम्ब्रेन व्हाट एवर इट इज. साइटोप्लाज्म इज दैट, राइट. आपको न्यूक्लियस से, न्यूक्लियस के अंदर न्यूक्लियोप्लाज्म इज देयर, राइट. फिर सेल साइटोप्लाज्म इज देयर. ये साइटोप्लाज्म जो बोल रहे हैं उसमें न्यूक्लियस इंक्लूडेड नहीं है. साइटोप्लाज्म along with the nucleus, right, that means still cell membrane तक, right, उसको हम प्रोटोप्लाज्म बुलाते हैं, right. What is the name? प्रोटोप्लाज्म. साइटोप्लाज्म along with the nucleus, right, so till cell membrane, उसको हम स्पेशल नाम बुलाती है, that's called प्रोटोप्लाज्म. तो ये पूरा प्रोटोप्लाज्म की श्रृंगेज, right, so श्रृंगेज ऑफ प्रोटोप्लाज्म away from the cell wall, that also we can add, right, away from the cell wall, right, अंदर उसकी cell wall shrink नहीं होगा. So you can see that shrinkage of the protoplasm away from the cell wall, right, of a plant cell due to the loss of water in hypertonic solution. That means exosmosis की वजह से, right, shrinkage of protoplasm will occur in plant cell. उसको हम special नाम देती है, उसका नाम है plasmolysis, right. दिस इज द रीजन वाई वी आर एक्चुअली केरी वगैरह, राइट, अचार डालती है तो हम, मैंने बोला था श्रृंगेज हो जाती है, राइट. हमारे हाथ वगैरह वो तो सिंबल ऑस्मोसिस ही है, बट इन द केस ऑफ केरी प्लांट सेल के केस में हम स्पेशल नाम देती है ये प्रोसेस को, राइट. देयर ऑल्सो एक्सोस्मोसिस इज ऑकरिंग, ऑस्मोसिस ही है, बट इन द सेम टाइम इफ द श्रृंगेज ऑफ ये प्रोसेस को, श्रृंगेज ऑफ प्रोटोप्लाज्म अवे फ्रॉम द सेल वॉल, in the case of plant cell when we are putting into a hypertonic solution due to exosmosis, उसको हम plasmolysis बुलाते हैं. Is it clear बेटा? Right? So आपको पिक्चर में you can see that, और भी you can shrink it, right, ऐसे, right, right. So this is the shrinkage of protoplasm away from the cell wall. इसको हम protolysis, plasmolysis बुलाते हैं, right. So yes, okay, it is clear. All right. So dear students, I am putting an MCQ every day, right? So morning and evening I am putting an MCQ, right? I hope you are attending. How many of you have attended that? It will help you to increase your MCQ, that means knowledge, right? So obviously CBSE have introduced, right, so MCQ type of questions in your exam pattern. So that's why I have added MCQ type questions also as a quiz, right, basis. So please do attend that every day. So it will actually yes, some of the students already attended, right. It will actually refresh your ideas, yes, whether you have understand or not, right. And that will give me an idea that you have already understood my classes properly or not, right. So in the channel itself, if you have subscribed my channel, you will get the notification, right. So please subscribe it, so you will get the notification when the MCQs are coming, right. YouTube only, in the community I have put that, right. So every day, morning, evening, you will get that, right. So it's very good. You will have an idea. Yes, मेरे को ये topic clear है, right. So from that, I will also understand how many students are getting the correct answer, wrong answer. So मेरे को भी idea मिल जाएगा whether they are understanding the concept or not. So please do attend that, okay, right. Now we are moving to the next topic, right. तो हमने cell membrane बता दिया बेटा, cell wall बता दिया, right. Now we are moving to that next topic, that's nucleus. But a cell wall, right? So actually when a cell हम discuss कर रही हैं, outermost layer that ना हम बता दिया था cell membrane होती है, right? Plant cell के case में it is actually cell wall भी होती है, right? So here there is very important part, right? हमको very important part we have to discuss here, right? If it is a cell, right? उसको एक control area चाहिए, right? So the brain of the cell, we can see that the brain of the cell, right? Brain of the cell, it is known as the nucleus, right? So इसको हम nucleus बुलाती है, right? The brain of the cell, which is the what will say control room, right? तो हमारी एक that ना what will say main office है, right? Office के बहुत सारी rooms होती है, उसमें right there are so many systems are working that, उसमें main right main एक area होती है which is controlling everything, that हम बताते हैं this is the controlling room. Right. ऐसे हमारी घर में actually you can see that power supply will be there everywhere, right? But we have a main switch board होती है, वो power off कर दिया फिर सारे रूम की ऑफ हो गया, right? The same way हमारा सेल की पूरा का पूरा activity, whatever the activity is happening in a cell, which will be controlled by a sender, a main sender, which is known as the nucleus, the brain of the cell, or controlling room of the cell, control room, right? control room of the cell. These are the different names we can use that, right? So what is that actually? It will control all the activities of the cell. Whatever the activity है जो सब कुछ इन्होंने control करती है, right? And now we are going to the structure of the nucleus. क्या है nucleus की structure? बेटा देख लो, right? So बाकी मैं इसको थोड़ा सा रब कर रही है बेटा. I'm just taking nucleus की structure, right? So ये देख लो आपका एक nucleus round whatever the shape, उसके अंदर you can see that एक special structure is there जिसका नाम है nucleolus, right? The cytoplasm जैसा इसके अंदर भी you can see that एक jelly like substance is there which is called nucleoplasm. Label, wait, jelly like substance, उसका ज्यादा फंक्शन वगैरह अब भी नहीं है, हायर क्लास में यू विल लर्न दैट. एंड यू कैन सी दैट इसको आउटरमोस्ट कवरिंग होती है, एक कवरिंग, राइट? सो दिस इज एक्चुअली यू कैन सी दैट दिस इज अ कवरिंग. सॉरी थोड़ा सा मोटा हो गया, राइट? ये एक कवरिंग होती है. बट व्हाट इज अ प्रॉब्लम हियर, ये कवरिंग ऐसे कंटिन्यूस नहीं है. इट्स नॉट अ कंटिन्यूस कवरिंग, right? In between you can see that small pores are there. That means this covering is actually jointed here. Yes, ऐसे join किया है, लिख लो. Here also they have jointed. ऐसे join किया है बेटा. It's not continuous. It's actually jointed in some areas, right? So double layered है, एक नहीं है, single layered नहीं है, double layered covering is there, but the covering is not continuous, right? So it is having some pores. This covering is known as nuclear membrane. तो ये है आपका nuclear membrane and it is not continuous. In between you can see that pores are there, right? ये इसको हम बताती है nuclear pore. क्या है इसका नाम? Nuclear pore, right? Inside you can see that nucleoplasm is there. Nucleoplasm जैसे कि cytoplasm, right? It's a jelly-like substance which is inside the nucleus, nucleoplasm. And here you can see that nucleolus, right? Another very important substance is there that I lift. Inside this nuclear membrane, आपको nucleolus दिख सकती है. And another, हमारा genetic material also you can see that. The genetic material, right? So it will be in a thread-like structure, right? As entangled mass of, हम क्या बोलूँ, हमारी ऊन होती है ना जो स्वेटर वगैरह बनाने की, ऐसे एक cluster of thread-like structure you can see that. I'm going to draw here, you can see. देख लो, right? So an entangled mass of thread-like structure जिसको हम बुलाती हैं chromatin reticulum. क्रोमैटिन, ये सारे एक ही नाम है बेटा. सिंपली बताओ, आप क्रोमैटिन बता सकती है. क्रोमैटिन रेटिकुलम. रेटिकुलम मीन्स नेटवर्क लाइक स्ट्रक्चर. सो क्रोमैटिन रेटिकुलम, क्रोमैटिन, राइट? सो कुछ भी नाम आप दे सकती है, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, दोनों सेम ही है, राइट? सो इट इज द जेनेटिक मटीरियल. दिस इज द जेनेटिक मटीरियल ऑफ द सेल, राइट? सो क्लियर है, राइट? once again I will repeat, you have to listen very carefully, right? So आप देख लेना बेटा. The control room or the main, right? हम बताती है the brain of the cell जो है वो एक nucleus होती है एक cell की, right? Nucleus actually controls all the activities of the cell. Whatever the activities एक cell में होती है उसका सारे के सारे activities is controlled by the nucleus, right? So if you go in the structure, you can see that it actually the nucleus is actually covered by a double layered covering. Single नहीं है उतना, double layer. Main part है यार, तो उसको double protection चाहिए, right? So here double layered covering is there. वो covering की नाम है nuclear membrane. हमने बता दिया था बेटा, nuclear membrane होती है, right? Now ये nuclear membrane एक ही बात एक ही ऐसे सीक्वेंस में ही ले लेना, तो देयर विल बी नो डिफिकल्टी टू लर्न. तो हमने बता दिया क्या है न्यूक्लियस, ना उसका कवरिंग बता दिया था, कवरिंग के नाम बता दिया, राइट? नाउ व्हाट वी आर टेलिंग, कवरिंग कंटिन्यूअस नहीं है, बीच बीच में यू कैन सी दैट पोर्स आर देयर. दे बीच में डबल लेयर को आपने क्या करना है, पहले आपने एक लेयर बना दिया, दूसरी लेयर बना दिया, ऐसे कंटिन्यूअस नहीं है, बीच बीच में वो ज्वाइन किया है, तो ज्वाइन कर देती है तो ऐसे होती है, राइट? सो ज्वाइन कर देती है तो ऐसे होती है. सो यू कैन सी दैट वो जॉइंट इन बिटवीन, राइट? सो दैट विल क्रिएट छोटा छोटा पोर्स बनाएगा बीच में, राइट? एंड दैट पोर्स आर कॉल्ड न्यूक्लियर पोर. इसका रोल क्या है? दिस इज एक्चुअली कंट्रोलिंग, दिस इज रेगुलेटिंग. ऐसे नहीं है पूरा का पूरा कोई सा भी सब्सटेंस न्यूक्लियस के अंदर जाओ बाहर आओ, राइट? सो वॉट एवर थिंग्स हैज टू गो इनसाइड एंड आउटसाइड ऑफ द न्यूक्लियस, दैट मीन्स साइटोप्लाज्म के बीच में. ये किधर होती है बेटा? ये पूरा का पूरा सेल के अंदर साइटोप्लाज्म की बीच में इधर तो साइटोप्लाज्म है, राइट। सो साइटोप्लाज्म और न्यूक्लियस के बीच में क्या क्या एक्सचेंज करना है, वॉट एवर थिंग्स हैज टू बी एक्सचेंज्ड, that will be controlled by this nuclear pore. So nuclear pore will decide, right? It will regulate the movement of substance from, right, from the nucleus, that nucleoplasm to cytoplasm, right, surrounding, right? So in and out of the nucleus में क्या क्या substance बाहर जाना है अंदर आना है, that will be decided by, right? It's not semi permeable, इसलिए तो semi permeable वगैरह it's not important here. That's for a complete covering. Nuclear pore is the pore through the channel. यार हम क्या बोलूं, एक गेट बता सकती हैं, राइट, डोर, राइट, थ्रू विच द सब्सटेंस कैन गो इनसाइड एंड आउटसाइड, राइट. सो दैट्स आल्सो द परमेबिलिटी इज डिफरेंट, दैट्स जस्ट लाइक प्लाज्मा मेम्ब्रेन, सेमी परमेबल, वो उसका नेचर ऐसे ही है, बट दिस इज डिफरेंट बेटा, दिस इज हैव पोर्स इटसेल्फ, सो परमेबिलिटी की कोई रोल नहीं है, पोर ही प्रेजेंट है, क्लियर, राइट. नाउ आपको इसके अंदर क्या क्या होती है, तो हो गया हमारे बाहर की स्ट्रक्चर, राइट. इनसाइड दिस यू कैन सी दैट देयर विल बी जेली लाइक सब्सटेंस जिसका नाम न्यूक्लियोप्लाज्म है. न्यूक्लियोप्लाज्म के अंदर न्यूक्लियोलस होती है, इट्स वेरी हाईली कंडेंस्ड, राइट, न्यूक्लियोलस, राइट, वेरी दैट ना डेंस पार्टिकल, एक राउंड छोटा सा राउंड पार्टिकल, 25% ऑफ दिस न्यूक्लियस ये न्यूक्लियोलस होती है. ये न्यूक्लियोलस की रोल क्या है, एक्चुअली इन क्लास 9 टेक्स्ट बुक और एनीथिंग इट्स नॉट क्लियरली मेंशन बिकॉज यू आर लर्निंग इन हायर क्लासेस, बट जस्ट फॉर योर अंडरस्टैंडिंग आई हैव मेंशन हियर व्हाट इज द रोल. सो न्यूक्लियोलस एक्चुअली इट हैज so many different type of proteins and RNA, right? It is made up of RNA. RNA means ribonucleic acid, right? और प्रोटीन से बना हुआ है, right? So it's actually किसकी काम के लिए, कौन सी काम के लिए काम आती है? It's actually where the ribosomes are forming. Ribosomes के बारे में तो आपने सुना है, right? Ribosomes are the protein factory, right? छोटा छोटा ribosomes you can see that. You have learned in class 8, right? वो ribosomes actually made बनाती हैं इधर न्यूक्लियोलस के अंदर. Right, that's only you have to learn. It is made up of protein and RNA, right? RNA ribonucleic acid है, right? इसका काम क्या है? It is actually helping for the formation of ribosomes. इतना ही अभी फिलहाल आपको लर्न करना है. Higher class में you will learn about this nucleolus in detail, right? Now we are going to the next part. This is the main part we have to discuss here. इसके अलावा हमने बता दिया था ये न्यूक्लियस के अंदर our genetic material is there. ये जेनेटिक मटेरियल की नाम है क्रोमैटिन, राइट, क्रोमैटिन और क्रोमैटिन रेटिकुलम. रेटिकुलम क्या है? रेटिकुलम की मीनिंग है नेटवर्क, राइट. सो ये एक नेटवर्क लाइक नेट लाइक स्ट्रक्चर है, तो इसलिए इसको रेटिकुलम बुलाती है, क्रोमैटिन रेटिकुलम, और सिंपली क्रोमैटिन वो भी चलेगा, राइट. सो नाउ इन द केस एट द टाइम, नॉर्मल टाइम में आपने सेल देख रही है तो यू कैन सी दिस, राइट. बट इफ दिस सेल इज अबाउट टू डिवाइड, एक बार हम डिवाइड करने के लिए, दैट मीन्स एक्चुअली सेल ग्रोथ हम छोटे बच्चे के टाइम कितना था ऐसे ही कि अभी भी, राइट. सो यू कैन सी दैट आवर हेयर्स आर ग्रोइंग, नेल्स आर ग्रोइंग. तो आपका एक्चुअली हाथ, फिंगर्स छोटे में इतना ही था, अभी तो इतना हो गया. सो ऑब्वियसली दिस इज ग्रोइंग. ग्रोइंग मीन्स सेल डिविजन हो रही है, सेल की ग्रोथ हो रही है. सो whenever cell division will occur in our body or in wherever it is, ये क्रोमैटिन रेटिकुलम विल कंडेंस, राइट. सो मीन्स वो पर्टिकुलरली कंडेंस करके एक स्पेशल स्ट्रक्चर बनाएगा विच इज एक्चुअली एन एक्स लाइक स्ट्रक्चर, राइट. उसको हम बुलाती हैं ऐसे ऐसे एक स्ट्रक्चर, दिस इज द स्ट्रक्चर, राइट. इसको हम बुलाती है क्रोमोसोम्स. दिस यू कैन सी ओनली एट द टाइम ऑफ सेल डिविजन. सिर्फ सेल डिविजन की टाइम में देख सकती है, बाकी नॉर्मल टाइम में आपको माइक्रोस्कोप के अंदर इफ यू आर वाचिंग द सेल यू कैन ओनली सी दिस एंटैगल्ड मास क्रोमैटिन. whenever the cell is about to divide, right, dividing cells में, that means आप higher class में you will do experience, right. so onion root की tip में, so और that ना shoot की tip में plants में, because tips are actually the growing area. तो उसकी आप सेल डिविजन उसका आप दैट ना माइक्रोस्कोप के अंदर देख रही है तो यू कैन क्लियरली सी दिस क्रोमोसोम्स, राइट. सो क्रोमोसोम्स आर एक्चुअली नथिंग बट इट इज आल्सो द जेनेटिक मटेरियल. नॉर्मल सेल डिविजन की बिना टाइम में, इफ द सेल डिविजन इज नॉट टेकिंग प्लेस, देन एक सेल के अंदर यू कैन सी क्रोमैटिन, द नेटवर्क लाइक स्ट्रक्चर, राइट. सो व्हेन द सेल इज अबाउट टू डिवाइड, दिस विल कंडेंस्ड, वो कंडेंस कर एक स्पेशल स्ट्रक्चर, ऐसे नहीं एक क्रोमोसोम, देयर विल बी इनफ क्रोमोसोम. In the case of human being, there are 46 chromosome in a cell. कितना है बेटा? आपका सेल के अंदर, एक सेल के अंदर 46 क्रोमोसोम्स होती है. 46 क्रोमोसोम्स इन अ सेल. राइट. सो दैट मीन्स ये पूरा एंटागल्ड मास ए से कितना स्ट्रक्चर बनाएगा 46, राइट. सो रिमेंबर द नंबर 46 क्रोमोसोम इन ए सेल, एक सेल के अंदर, राइट. मैम 22 आर सेम? नो, 22 आर नॉट सेम. इट्स एक्चुअली यू कैन सी दैट 23 पेयर. 46 क्रोमोसोम नहीं है तो 23 पेयर, बिकॉज वो सेम टाइप की होती है. आधा आपका पापा से आधा मम्मा से मिल जाती है, तो दैट्स व्हाई वी आर टेलिंग इट्स 23 पेयर. 46 क्रोमोसोम बोलो नहीं तो 23 पेयर बोलो, राइट. So here that na chromosome, this name is actually chromosome. When the cell is about to divide, then it will attain a special structure called chromosome, condensed structure, right. Now ये आपको इसके अंदर इसका क्या रोल है? One pair is different, that you will learn in higher classes only, right. 22 are same, that's actually X and that ना sex chromosomes बुलाती है, right. वो वगैरह अभी आपको learn नहीं करना है, बट हम बिल्कुल धीरे धीरे जाएगा, राइट. सो एक साथ हम उतना बता दिया था, दैट मे कंफ्यूजन फॉर सम स्टूडेंट्स, राइट. सो ऐसे आप बता रही है तो यू कैन सी दैट दिस इज 46 एक्चुअली डिवाइडेड इनटू 44 प्लस XX और 44 प्लस XY. दिस इज फॉर फीमेल, दिस इज फॉर मेल, like that differentiation is there, right. So that means 22 pair same type की autosomes are there and these are sex chromosomes. जो मेल और फीमेल की फर्क कैसे पता चलेगा? मेल में you can see that XY chromosomes are there, female में XX chromosomes are there. These all things you will learn in the higher classes only. So जो students जिसने पूछा है उनके लिए मैंने explain किया था, बाकी बच्चों को confusion हो रही है तो छोड़ दो बेटा, it's not important for you for the time being, right. It's the class 9th is the class to make your basics clear. बाकी तो हम कभी भी learn कर सकती है, but make the basics clear. इसके बिना पूरा information आप gather मत करना, so that will make you confused. Yes, it's very correct, very true, very good. आपको extra knowledge मिल रही है तो बहुत अच्छा है, but पहले आपको basics clear करना है. That's very important, right? So आपको समझ में आ गई, right? So इसका role क्या है? बेटा पूरा का पूरा genetic information, that means it contain the information of inheritance or heredity. That means कभी-कभी नहीं है, mostly you can see that we are actually having that different characters of our parents. कभी-कभी हमको same eyes की color मिलती है, कभी-कभी कुछ that ना moles or something, right. कभी-कभी face की that ना nose की shape or something we are telling that यार तुम तो बिल्कुल पापा के जैसा है, मम्मा के जैसा है, क्यों बता रही है? Because we have some character of them, right. So this is actually, और कभी-कभी कुछ बीमारी भी ऐसे आती है, यार मेरा मम्मा को शुगर है तो मेरे को भी चांसेस है, right. So पापा को that in family, so some diseases or something. So these all are actually from one generation to another generation it will pass, right. उसको हम बताती है heredity or inheritance, right. So ये कैसे pass होती है? It's passing through the chromosome. So whatever the things are there, right, so it contains, yes Nishant, I will tell about that. It contains the information of inheritance. That means whatever the information, whatever हमको क्या क्या चाहिए, it's correct only, DNA only, I will tell about that, right. So contain the information of inheritance, right. Now इसके अंदर क्या होती है? Actually chromosomes भी बना हुआ है कुछ other structure से, जिसका नाम है DNA and proteins, right. तो actually ये chromosome बना हुआ है DNA and proteins से, right. So अभी मैंने बोला था आपको ज्यादा डिटेल में नहीं है, just to understand that this chromosome is made up of DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid. This is the full form of nucleic acid, DNA, right. Deoxyribonucleic acid, right. Acid also I will write in capital letter, right. So this is DNA and some other proteins also is there. That's actually the structure of chromosome, right. So ये function that ना chromosomes को भी actually इसको कैसे, मैं आपको एक picture दिखा दिया, from that you will understand that. इसको आपने इसको unwind कर दिया, this is actually a highly coiled structure. तब आपको ऐसे एक structure दिखेगा, this is nothing but our DNA, right. ऐसे होती है, double helical form में एक DNA structure होती है, right. So ये DNA की कुछ parts, functional part को हम बताते हैं gene, right. I will show you the picture, then you will understand more clear. We are learning only the basics. Higher classes you will learn in detail. I will show you one picture, from that you can easily understand. 1 minute. Yes. Now can you see this picture, all of you? Right. बेटा देख लो ये picture. Is it clear for all? Yes. I hope it is clear, right? So देख लो बेटा, right. आप इधर here this is the actually the nucleus के अंदर the genetic material, the entangled mass, right, which is the chromatin, right. So chromatin at the time of cell division ये कौन से form में आएगा? This is the chromosome, right. So you can see that that's also highly coiled thread like structure है, right. वो thread like structure को आपने unwind किया है, you can see that this is the structure, right. So this is actually, this is the हमारे chromatin है, chromatin को हमने, you can see that at the time of cell division it will form a chromosome like structure. This is the chromosome. ये chromosome में you can see that thread like structure is there. If you unwind them तो आपको इसमें DNA दिखेगा, right. I will show you this one. This helical structure, this is called the DNA, right. तो आपने एक एक करके इसको, that means उतना coil है बेटा, एक सेल की DNA को आपने ऐसे किया है, unwind किया है, it about 2 मीटर होगा. तो आप देख लेना, cell is already microscopic, you cannot see with your naked eyes, right. So you can see that उसको उतना coil करके, उतना छोटा करके उसके अंदर बना, that ना what is say involve करके रखा है, right. So that's why we are telling that उतना small है, right. मैंने बोला था 2 मीटर, 2 मीटर आप मान लो कितना है, right. So here remember, this is only the thing you have to remember. Nucleus के अंदर you can see that the chromatin network like entangled wool की जैसा, right, wool, right, wool की जैसा, you can see that wool will be there. So this will be actually at the time of cell division, you can see that this will be forming the chromosomes, right. Chromosomes की एक एक thing को आपको unwind किया है, then you can see that that is made up of DNA and some proteins. ये round दिख रहे हैं ना, these are actually histones, you can see the name here, that's actually the proteins, right. वो proteins को भी आपने you can see that उसमें भी वापस इसके जो that ना जोड़ दिया है, वो thread को भी आपने unwind किया है, then you can see that, I will show you once again, right. So this is the DNA, right. ये DNA आप दिख सकती है, this is the DNA, right. Now this is the DNA part, right. So ये helical, double helical, हमारी वो staircase होती है ना, rounded helix, right. ऐसे you can see that. Now I hope it is clear now, right. Now this DNA की, right. So हमने ये DNA के बारे में बता दिया था. So DNA के अंदर पूरा का पूरा information होती है. ये DNA की एक functional unit, that means एक एक unit में divide किया है. एक फंक्शनल यूनिट ऑफ डीएनए को हम बताती है जीन ही नहीं है, अलाउद्दीन वाला नहीं है बेटा. ओ somebody told about that, अलाउद्दीन, राइट. अलाउद्दीन वाला नहीं है और हमारा पहनने वाला जीन्स भी नहीं है, इट्स जीन. वो जीनी, अलाउद्दीन वाला तो जीनी है, राइट. हाँ, राइट. सो इट इज जीन, राइट. सो रिमेंबर द जीन इज द फंक्शनल यूनिट ऑफ डीएनए, राइट. सो वी हैव डिस्कस्ड एवरीथिंग इन डिटेल. न्यूक्लियस के बारे में भी हमने पूरा का पूरा डिस्कस किया है. Tomorrow we have classes. In that classes we will discuss about the further cell organelles. Each and everything I am discussing here detail. So please make sure you are attending the quiz, right, so that you can refresh your ideas. If any doubt or anything is there, please feel free to inform me, right. So I think today's class we will wind up here. I hope you enjoyed the class, you understand each and everything. Any problem, any queries, you can feel free to message me, right. You can put in the comment section. If the class is interesting for you, please recommend to your friends also, right. That will help me for me to that channel also. It's a motivation, right, obviously, right, we are doing, right. Thank you all, thank you, take care, right. So stay in your home itself, stay safe. Bye bye.